guys, today's topic actually applies over a few different lifts. I'm just going to be talking a little bit about how to develop more explosive speed out of the bottom of the hole of things like the squat and the bench, and in particular just off the floor of the deadlift. Now, for sports like Olympic lifting and stuff like that, explosive type speed training is done in the 30% range of your 1 rep max for whatever that lift would be. And the same thing sort of applies in the in some instances, at least, of powerlifting. So some things that some people might find very beneficial might be training with about 30% of your maximum for these lifts with added bands. Accommodating resistance is a great tool as far as developing a little bit more acceleration toward the top of your lift. It really forces you to exert more force onto the bar when ordinarily you might be decelerating at the end of the lift, so it's something that's really useful for that. Another great quote that Mark Bell, I think, is famous for saying is, if you want to get stronger in a certain spot, you have to spend more time there. A couple things you might be able to do for things like a bench press, which is probably like, honestly, the best thing for that is honestly pause benches. Same thing with squats and deadlifts. I really think that those have a lot of benefit to them. Just sit on the bottom of the chest, maybe half an inch or right in the hole for squats and right off the floor for your deadlift. And don't get me wrong, it's not only going to help you as far as just out of the bottom, just being more explosive, but if you're having issues in a different part of the lift, just pause in that position and it's going to help out there too. As far as anything else, you could do things like starting from a certain position. So I'll put it this way: you have something called a pin press for bench press, which is essentially, instead of you starting on the rack up here, you start underneath the bar with it going across your chest where it normally would sit. You start off with it there, and that pretty much forces you to get tight at the bottom, and you take the eccentric portion out of the lift, which is essentially how a deadlift would start, I guess. So I guess really you couldn't do that as much for a deadlift, but the same theory applies to like a block pull or a rack pull or something like that. Just you're not going to be able to do it from that bottom range of motion like you would be able to do with a bench or a squat. But same thing applies to a squat. You would just throw up those two safety pins or something like that. Start off with the bar there, put it in a good position on your back, but you might have a little bit of trouble getting into the hole. But it's going to be beneficial as far as developing more strength in that bottom position. And the stronger you are in that bottom position in the hole, odds are the more explosive you're going to look on that lift. So in summary, a couple things that you can do to increase your explosive strength on these 3 lifts is do some band work with accommodating resistance, with maybe anywhere from 30 to 50% of your max. If you're going to go up to 50, I don't recommend using bands. Do some pause work with each lift, or start off with the lift at a certain height depending on where your weakness is. So pin presses, squats out of the hole, rack pulls, that sort of thing. But that's pretty much all I got for today, and in the meantime, like, share, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.